Today I'm going to review A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. So this book was requested by someone. I'd already read it. I read it a few years ago. And I enjoyed it the first time I read it. So I went back and I reread it for this review. The book, it's not really a history of everything. The title of the book kind of makes it seem like he's going to talk about everything. And it doesn't really narrow it down, but the book is really, it's about the story of how people discovered how we came to exist. Like what's all the science behind, where the planets come from and how life started and how life evolved and just everything from, the Big Bang to humans. And the way the book's written is it follows the people that discovered the science. It's a really interesting way to structure the book, and following all the stories of the individuals as they, try to figure out what's going on with the world was a really engaging way of telling the story. It reminded me a lot of this show called Cosmos. It was in the US in like the 70s or 80s. The original show was narrated by Carl Sagan, or it was hosted by him. He wasn't just talking. They just did a remake of the show with Neil deGrasse Tyson, which you might see that. There's some clips on YouTube if you search for it. And that show, it was structured very similarly. They would talk about science, but then they would tell the story of the people that discovered it and how they discovered it, and how we kind of went from ignorance to knowledge. And it's a really engaging way of telling the story. And this book, I think, took a lot of cues from that original TV show. And it tells the story in the same way, and it kind of follows all these people and how they discovered things. The book starts with the Big Bang and kind of works forward chronologically. We discovered different parts of that story at different times, so as it's going through chronologically, it kind of jumps around in time because we might have discovered some things in like the 20th century, other things were happened a few thousand years ago, so it kind of jumps around a little bit, but it's really fun. It's really engaging. The book, when I started reading it, is one of the few books that I just wanted to keep reading all the time. And normally I listen to the books on audiobook, and normally it's just during my commute. I drive to work, from going to the store, wherever, I'll listen to a book. But most books I'll only listen to in the car, because once I get out of the car, I'm busy, I'm doing other things. And I really I don't put in the effort to keep listening to the book because, I've got other stuff to do. But this book was one of the few books where when I got out of the car, I would be playing it on my phone. I'd be doing something else because I wanted to keep listening to the book because the story was so engaging. It's really a fun read. It's not a hard read at all. Once you start reading it, the pages really just melt away. It doesn't take a lot of time to read the book because it's so fun. It's so engaging. And it's not dense. It's not. It's a lot of stories about people and how they discovered something. So it's not like a very technical science book like Behave by Robert Sapolsky, which is really dense and you really got to take your time as you go through the book. This book, it's a very fun read. It's a very quick, easy read. I mean, it's not that quick. It seems quick because I read it so fast, but it's like 400 and something pages, 450, 460 pages. But it's really good. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to anyone that's interested in that premise, how we discovered how we came to exist. It's a really engaging story. The one thing, there's not a lot of new facts in here, or if you've read a lot about science in the past, you might not learn too much from the book, but it's a really engaging book and it tells the story in a very fluid way. And so it's very enjoyable to read. And I think, if anyone's looking to just get into science books, this would be a perfect way to do it because it's a very accessible book. You don't have to be a nerd or take notes when you're reading it. It's very fun, enjoyable read. So definitely, if you're interested, pick it up. I think there's been like 5 or 6 copies of this book in every used bookstore I've ever been in. The book came out in like 2003 or something like that. Let me check real fast. Yeah, 2003. And so it's out there. It sold a lot of copies, so it's pretty easy to go pick up a used copy or get on Amazon and get the audiobook or something like that. It's a great book. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. So that's all for this video. Like, subscribe. I got some more reviews coming. I've got a lot of books queued up to review. So stick around and I'll be putting those videos out shortly. Thanks.